There's only 2 games left in the season, but still plenty on the line as we have a pair of teams fighting to improve their playoff seeding as the 8-6 Jacksonville Jaguars come into Atlanta to face Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and the 10-4 Atlanta Falcons. Opening drive, 3rd and 2 for the Jaguars. Falcons looking for a 3-and-out, but instead it's a punch square to the face as Leonard Fournette takes the give untouched all the way to the end zone for 67 yards, and Jacksonville is first to strike as they take an immediate 7-0 lead. Falcons turning on the second play of their drive. Matt Ryan play fakes and finds Mohamed Sanu on the sideline for 23 yards across midfield. 2 plays later, Ryan throwing again, and this time it's over the middle to tight end Austin Hooper for 19 yards to the Jacksonville 24. Then facing 3rd and 17, Ryan throwing and floats one up to Mr. Overtime, who snags the catch right at the marker, and it's gonna be a first down Atlanta. And that leads to 2 plays later where Ryan play fakes and is buried by Calais Campbell for the sack. Falcons don't convert on 3rd down and settle for a Giorgio Tavecchio 36-yard field goal attempt that is up and good and makes it 7-3. Ensuing drive, 3rd and 13 for the Jags. Nick Foles looking to throw, but Adrian Claiborne busts through the double team to drop him for the sack and force a Jacksonville punt. Falcons near midfield with 2nd and 6. Ryan throwing, and Julio Jones gets behind Jalen Ramsey, and he's going to make the 45-yard catch down inside the 10. And on 1st and goal, Ryan throwing again into the end zone he goes, where it's right back to Julio Jones for the 9-yard score. The extra point would be blocked, so instead of leading by 3, the Falcons only lead 9-7. Jaguars turn again, and this drive would end the same as their last, with Nick Foles looking to throw, only to be dropped by Vic Beasley and Tack McKinley for the sack. So Falcons turn again, and Mohamed Sanu continues his big first quarter as Ryan fires, and he hangs onto the tough 18-yard catch. Then next play, it's a counter to Brian Hill, who finds a lane, picking up 17 yards and a first down, and then the face mask from behind results in 15 more to put Atlanta at the Jaguar 31. 3 plays later, first play of the second quarter, and facing 3rd and 4, Ryan throwing, drifts to his right and fires out to Hooper, who makes the catch but goes backward for a loss of 2. Giorgio Tavecchio is sent out and is perfect from 45 yards for his second field goal of the day, and a 12-7 Falcons lead. Later in the quarter, same score. Jags facing 3rd and 12, where Foles drops the throw and fires a seed over the middle to Keelan Cole, and a shoestring tackle saves the score. And that tackle would be huge because on the next play, Foles rolls to his left and throws it right to Devondre Campbell, and the Falcons are going to take over at their own 20 with a chance to extend their lead before half. And on their first play, Ryan fakes the give, looks to throw, and fires over the middle to Julio Jones for 12 yards to start the drive. Next play, Ryan throwing again, stands tall and delivers a strike to Austin Hooper, who hangs onto the 20-yard catch across midfield. Then 2 plays later, out of the 2-minute warning, Ryan play fakes, loads up and throws deep for Julio Jones, who runs under it and takes it down inside the 10 to the 7 for a 40-yard catch that makes it 1st and goal. And that leads to 2 plays later, Ryan throwing, and Mohamed Sanu is wide open for the 6-yard score, and the Falcons will head into the break with a 19-7 lead. Falcons get the ball to start the 3rd, and on their first play of the second half, it's Ryan to Austin Hooper for 11 yards and a first down. Then 2 plays later, Ryan throwing, Season X on fire and floats one deep, and Jalen Ramsey, you got mossed. Julio Jones with a 50-yard catch to the Jaguar 13. We interrupt these highlights to bring you a message directly from the representation of Deuce Douglas. The You Got Moss segment shown here and seen in previous Deuce Douglas videos is meant to replicate the notorious ESPN segment profiling wide receivers establishing fatherly dominance over their fellow defensive back colleagues. The segment has no connection to and is not in any way responsible for the new Madden 20 Mossed X Factor Zone ability. Any claims to such are completely baseless, entirely unfounded, and honestly a little bit flattering. But when you're up by 4 with 3 seconds left and a powered up TJ Hoshamazode suns your 98 Deion Sanders for the dub, please don't get mad at me. Thank you. 3rd and 10 from the 12 now. Ryan again throwing, steps up and fires to Julio Jones for what looks like a touchdown, but they'll mark it at the 2. But it's neither here nor there because on the next play, Quadri Allison takes it into the end zone untouched for the score, and a 5-point game quickly turns the 19 and a 26-7 Falcon lead. Later in the 3rd, following a Falcons punt, the Jags are pinned inside their 10, and on their first play, Foles drops to throw and then runs backwards into the end zone, and Tack McKinley drops him for a sack and 2 2 points to make it 28-7. Then on the free kick, Logan Cook boots it too close to the sideline. Jalen Myrick lets it go and it bounces out of bounds, but Madden has the rules wrong, so instead of starting at the 50, Atlanta starts at their own 30, where Brian Hill takes the give and has room right up the middle as he picks up 11 yards on a first down to start the drive. 4 plays later, Falcons across midfield, and it's Brian Hill again as he weaves his way through the defense for 14 more and another first down. But then 3 plays later, Ryan throwing and wants Austin Hooper, but Manti Te'o knocks it away incomplete. Giorgio Tavecchio comes out and the 50-yard field goal splits the uprights to push the Falcon lead to 24. Fourth quarter now, Jaguars driving, but on second, Nate Foles looks to throw where he just stands in the pocket before running backwards again and getting dropped by Adrian Claiborne for another sack. And that leads to 4th and 13 where Foles is throwing again and wants Marquise Lee. Tons of contact on the play. Lee wants a flag, but he's not going to get it, and Jacksonville is going to turn it over on downs. They'd get it right back a few minutes later where for the second time of the day, Foles throws it right to a Falcons defender. This time it's Deion Jones picking it off and taking it back inside the 10. Falcons add a field goal, Jags add a meaningless touchdown, and this one would wrap up with a 34-14 final score. The Falcon defense only surrenders 270 total yards, while offensively, Matt Ryan goes 24 of 27 for 320 yards and 2 scores through the air. Atlanta moves to 11-4 on the year and has their eyes set on the postseason with only 1 game left as they head to Tampa Bay next week. All right, guys, so another pretty easy win there. Got off to a rough start, giving up the long touchdown on the 3rd play of the game, but then completely shut them down after that and just kind of continued to grind them down with effective offense and good defense, not altogether unlike our previous game against the 49ers. But we're going to get right into the second half of the video here and start with Brian Hill's breakout scenario, which we did in fact accomplish. So he's going to see his dev go from normal to star and then also pick up 5,000 XP, so not a bad haul for a guy that just a few weeks ago was the 3rd running back in line. Moving on to scouting, we added 3 players to the board this week, including 2 quarterbacks in Jeremiah Gibson, who is a 1st-round projection but 3rd-round true talent, and Clay Mitchell, who is a 5th-round projection but 4th-round true talent. And then sandwiched in between them is Derek McPherson, who is a left guard out of Nebraska and is a 2nd-round projection and 3rd-round true talent. Our final negotiation of the year was with linebacker Jermaine Grace, and we signed him up to a 2-year, $1.3 million deal that came with no guaranteed money. And this is another move where there really is no reason not to sign him because he's so cheap. He provides numbers at a position, and I could cut him at any point in the future without any consequence. On to player upgrades, where we had 7 players with skill points this week, and we start with Tack McKinley, who received 1-point upgrades to his awareness, finesse moves, hit power, speed, and tackle. Then we had Chris Lindstrom, our rookie right guard, who received a +2 upgrade to his run block finesse and 1-point upgrades to both his awareness and strength. Up next was cornerback Isaiah Oliver, who saw 3 attributes increase this week, which included +2 to his block shedding and tackle, and then +3 to his play rec. Following him was left guard Jamon Brown, who sadly is no longer a 69 overall, and that's due to him reaching a 70 overall with +1 upgrades to his run and pass block finesse, as well as his run block and strength. But while we lose 169, we gain a new 69 as Caleb McGarry goes up 2 points in both awareness and run block power, as well as 1 point in acceleration to reach the supremely nice overall rating of 69. Then we had our breakout player Brian Hill, who with the 5,000 XP he received had 3 skill points to spend, and his first was spent on the power back archetype, where he received a +4 upgrade to his broken tackle rating. His next point was again spent on the power back archetype, where this time he received 2 points on awareness and +1 to both stiff arm and trucking. And then his last skill point was used on the elusive back archetype, and he received +1s to awareness, elusiveness, and juke move, and then +2 to spin move. And then finally, wrapping up the upgrades here, we have Bleedy Ray Wilson, who goes up 1 on both awareness and man coverage, and then goes up 3 points in tackle. Moving on to the league side of things, we start with scores from Week 16, where the Lions beat the Broncos 20-13, Chargers take down the Raiders in overtime, Giants hammer the Redskins, Titans squeak by the Saints, and the Jets beat the Steelers, Patriots eliminate the Bills with a 35-28 win, Rams and Bucks win by field goals over the 49ers and Texans, Ravens clinch the division with a 31-20 win over the the Browns. Panthers beat the Colts and Bengals beat the Dolphins. Cardinals take down the Seahawks in overtime and the Cowboys stomp the Eagles 34-3. Then on Sunday night, the Chiefs win 25-21 over the Bears. And wrapping up the week, the Packers picked up a 31-28 win over the Vikings on Monday night. As we look at the AFC playoff picture, the Ravens clinch both the division and home field advantage with their win. Chiefs have locked up the 2 seed while the Patriots are the 3 seed but could still miss the playoffs. Jaguars have clinched the South and sit at the 4 seed while the Bengals and Browns are tied at 10-5 for the wild cards. Jets remain on the outside looking in, a game back of the Patriots. On the NFC side, it's much more complicated as the Lions and us are currently tied for the top seed at 11-4. 1 game back is both the Cowboys, who are the 3 seed, and Eagles, who are tied with them for the lead in the East. Cardinals hold the 4 seed but haven't clinched the West quite yet, and then the Redskins hold the final wild card spot, but it's going to be absolute madness in the final week as the Rams are also 8-7 with the Bears, Packers, Buccaneers, Seahawks, Saints, and Panthers all 7-8 and 1 game back. The AFC Offensive Player of Week 16 is Mr. Mononucleosis himself, Sam Darnold. The former 3rd overall pick and kissing disease survivor was 22 of 30 passing for 304 yards and 3 touchdowns, which was good for a 138.7 passer rating and helped lead the Jets to a 24-14 win over the Steelers. On the NFC side, it was rookie quarterback and number 1 overall pick Kyler Murray taking home his 3rd award of the year. Murray completed just over 73% of his passes for 286 yards and found the end zone 4 times through the air as his Cardinals went into Seattle and took down the Seahawks 34-28 in overtime. As for the defense, it was Ravens safety Tony Jefferson winning player of the week for the AFC. Jefferson was in on 7 tackles with 1 going for a loss and also picked up a sack, pass deflection, and interception to help the Ravens clinch home field advantage with a 31-20 win over the Browns. And then on the NFC side, it's second-year cornerback Dante Johnson of the Panthers winning the Week 16 award. The 2018 second-rounder was in on 5 tackles and picked off Andrew Luck twice to help lead the Panthers to a 28-24 road win over the Colts. Moving on to the league leaders and starting with the passers, it's the same trio as last week with Matt Ryan leading in yards with 4,560, Andrew Luck leading in touchdowns with 38, and Dak Prescott and his 123.5 rating tops among the league's passers. Same story for the rushing leaders as the trio remains the same with Ezekiel Elliott's 1,639 yards rushing leading the way. Kerryon Johnson has a league-high 14 scores on the ground, and Devontae Freeman remains at the top of the yards per carry leaders with a 5.6 average. Austin Hooper becomes the 6th tight end in league history with a 100-catch season and leads the entire league with 101. Julio Jones is 6 yards shy of 1,700 yards receiving and leads the way there, and then Keenan Allen has a career-high 14 touchdown receptions, which is also good for the league best. And then lastly, the defensive leader starts with Deion Jones, who has a whopping 177 tackles to lead the league. Von Miller takes over as the sack leader with 16.5 with 1 game left, and then leading the way in interceptions is Keanu Neal, who is tied with both Jordan Miller and Dante Jackson, who both have 5 picks on the year. Looking at the final week of the year, everything is on Sunday, where things start off with the Ravens hosting the Steelers. Jets face the Bills in Buffalo. We head to Tampa Bay as we're still playing for seeding. Eagles at Giants, Saints at Panthers, and the Browns head to Cincinnati in a game that will decide who is the top AFC wildcard. Redskins, Cowboys, Packers, Lions, and Titans, Texans. Colts head to Jacksonville. Chargers head to Kansas City, and the Bears head to Minnesota. Dolphins face the Patriots. Raiders face the Broncos, and then we wrap up with a pair of NFC West games as the Rams host the Cardinals and the Seahawks host the 49ers. But that's going to do it, guys. Only 1 game left, and then it's on to the playoffs. And following the highlights next video, it's going to be a little bit different with it being the last game of the season. There won't be any league leaders, as I'll save those for the season recap video where we go over awards and things like that. But just wanted to put that out there before